It's 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. You've been at the dealership for 4 hours. The fluorescent lights are humming overhead. There's a half-eaten bag of pretzels on the finance manager's desk, and your brain is completely fried. You came in thinking you'd spend maybe $600 a month, but somewhere between the test drive and the extended warranty conversation, number crept up. And now the finance manager slides a sheet of paper across the desk and says, "So we got you into the vehicle. Your monthly comes out to $987. You pause. Your stomach drops just a little, but you're tired, and the car smells incredible. And honestly, you tell yourself it's less than $1,000 a month. You can make it work. You sign, and right there in that fluorescent lit room, something much bigger than a car payment just got decided. Most people think of a car payment the same way they think of a utility bill. It's just the cost of getting around. You drive to work, you drive to the grocery store, you drive to your kid's soccer game. The car is a tool. The payment is what tools cost. That's the story most of us have been told, and more importantly, it's the story most of us believe without ever really questioning it. But that story is quietly one of the most expensive beliefs a person can carry through their adult life, because a car payment isn't just a transportation expense. When it reaches a certain size, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes a wealth-blocking mechanism, a monthly withdrawal from the future version of you. And the frustrating part is that it looks completely normal from the outside. Your neighbors have one. Your coworkers have one. Your parents probably had one. So it never gets the scrutiny it deserves. There's a threshold in personal finance that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. It's the point where your transportation costs stop being a reasonable line item in your budget and start quietly determining your financial future. When your car payment, insurance, fuel, and maintenance combine to consume somewhere between 20 and 30% of your take-home income, you've crossed that threshold. At that level, transportation isn't just a cost. It's a ceiling. It limits how much you can save. It limits how much you can invest. It limits how much financial breathing room you have when life inevitably gets complicated. And here's what makes it particularly difficult to see. The payments are spread out monthly, so the total cost never feels real. You don't feel the $100,000 you'll spend over the decade. You only feel the $987 this month. And this month feels manageable. It always feels manageable until it doesn't. Let's talk about what a car actually is for a moment, not what it feels like on a Saturday afternoon with the windows down. What it actually is financially. A car is a depreciating asset. The moment you drive it off the lot, it starts losing value. Not slowly, quickly. In the first year alone, many vehicles lose 15 to 20% of their value. By year 5, that number can reach 40 to 50%. So while you're making payments that feel like an investment, you're actually financing something that is mathematically working against you every single month. And the psychological part is where it gets really interesting. Cars are one of the only major purchases in life where the emotional experience is deliberately engineered to short-circuit your financial reasoning. The smell, the feel of the seat, the sound system, the quiet cabin, all of it is designed to make you feel something. And when you feel something strongly enough, the numbers stop mattering the way they should. You stop asking, what will this cost me over the long run? You start asking, how do I make this mine? That shift in question is where the wealth destruction begins. Now let's look at the math, because the math is where this story gets genuinely eye-opening. Imagine you're committing to a $987 car payment every month. Let's call it $1,000 for simplicity. You finance one car, pay it off in 5 or 6 years, and then, because the payment felt normal by that point, you roll right into the next one. This is what most Americans do. It becomes a permanent fixture of adult life, the car payment that never actually ends. Now imagine instead that after your current car is paid off, you choose to keep driving it. It's not glamorous, but it runs. And you take that $1,000 every month and you put it into a broad market index fund. Nothing exotic, just a consistent, boring, long-term investment. Over 30 years, with historical average market returns used only as a general reference point and not as any kind of guarantee. That $1,000 a month has the realistic potential to grow into something in the range of $1.4 million or more. The math behind compound interest is relentless. It doesn't care about car smells or heated seats. It just keeps building on itself, month after month, decade after decade. That's not a promise. Markets fluctuate, returns vary, but the directional truth is undeniable. The money you hand to an auto lender every month is money that never gets the chance to work for you. And over decades, that gap becomes a chasm. Let me tell you about two people. They're the same age. They earn similar incomes. They live in the same city, work similar jobs, and have similar lifestyles on the surface. The first person upgrades their vehicle every 4 to 5 years. Always has a payment. Always has the newer model. They manage their budget carefully and feel like they're doing fine. And they are doing fine in a monthly sense. But they never build any meaningful investment base because there's always a payment in the way. The second person drives the same reliable car for 11 years. worse. They get it paid off and keep driving it. Every month after payoff, they automate an investment contribution. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to be disciplined in the moment because the habit is already built. They just live their life and compound interest does the heavy lifting. 25 years later, those two people are in completely different financial realities, not because of income, not because of luck, because of one recurring decision they made differently. Habits repeated consistently over time matter far more than occasional moments of financial discipline. The automation of a wealth-building behavior is almost always more powerful than the willpower to resist a single bad one. Here's something else the car payment takes from you that never shows up in the monthly statement: flexibility. When you have a large fixed obligation every month, your financial life becomes rigid. If your job situation changes, you can't afford to take a few months to explore something better. If an investment opportunity shows up, you can't move on it because the cash isn't there. If an emergency hits, and emergencies always hit, you have less cushion to absorb it without going deeper into debt. Financial freedom isn't just about having money, it's about having options. And large, recurring debt payments quietly chip away at your options month after month, often without you ever feeling the specific moment of loss. A lot of financial content spends enormous time talking about the coffee you buy every morning. Skip the latte, save your future. But the math on small expenses, while directionally true, misses the bigger point. It's the major decisions that move the needle. What car you buy, how long you finance it, whether you upgrade when you don't need to, whether you roll negative equity from one loan into the next. These decisions have 10, 20, 50 times the financial impact of your daily coffee. And yet we agonize over small purchases and barely pause at the dealership. The reason is psychological. A $4 coffee is a clear, visible expense. A $987 monthly payment is normalized, spread out and surrounded by paperwork that makes it feel official and reasonable. But the coffee is a rounding error. The car payment is a wealth outcome. There's something else worth saying about what large debt obligations do to your career. When your fixed monthly expenses are high, you need your income to stay stable. That sounds obvious, but think about what it means in practice. It means you're less likely to quit a job that's making you miserable because the payment is due on the first. It means you're less likely to start the business you've been thinking about because the risk feels impossible with that number hanging over you every month. It means you negotiate less aggressively, take fewer career risks, and stay on paths that feel safe even when they stop being right. Financial obligations shape professional behavior in ways most people never consciously connect. Your car payment might be influencing your career ceiling, and you'd never know it by looking at your budget. And then there are the mistakes that compound the original mistake. The most common one is rolling negative equity. You financed more than the car is worth, you want to upgrade early, and the dealer offers to fold the difference into your new loan. It feels like a solution. It is actually a mathematical trap that chains you to debt in a way that becomes progressively harder to escape. The second mistake is lifestyle inflation after payoff. The car finally gets paid off, and instead of redirecting that freed up cash toward wealth building, you upgrade because you feel like you've earned it. The payment comes back immediately. The opportunity never arrives. Every dollar you spend is a trade, not just a transaction, but a trade between the present version of you and the future version of you. When you evaluate that trade only by how it feels today, the future version always loses. The shift that changes everything is learning to evaluate purchases by their lifetime cost rather than their monthly cost. Not can I afford the payment, but what does this decision cost me over the next 30 years, including the opportunity cost of the money I won't be able to invest? That question changes everything. It doesn't mean never buy a car. It means buy the right car at the right price with the shortest reasonable financing and protect the rest of your cash flow with the same intensity you'd protect anything else that matters to you. Two people will retire around the same time years from now. One will have the freedom to stop working when they choose. The other will need to keep working because the money simply isn't there. They had similar incomes. They lived in similar houses. From the outside, their lives looked almost identical for decades. The difference was quiet. It was monthly. It was so normalized that neither of them ever really talked about it at dinner parties. One kept buying the car they could feel. The other kept building the life they couldn't yet see. Time passed, and the invisible difference became undeniable. The question isn't whether you can afford the payment. The question is what you're quietly giving up every single month to make it.